Hi everyone, another build video. This one will be for the Mintion Nutopress Pro. It's a heat insertion tool as a kit that lets you easily put in heat inserts to your printed parts with a little bit more accuracy, keeping them straight, going only as deep as it's supposed to. So today I'm just going to do the unbox and obviously put it together, and you'll see me using it and mentioning it in some upcoming videos that I'm doing some builds. Yeah, so starting out, we have a lovely kit here. It has a nice little installation guide with some QR codes. You can get this online on how to get started. I love the fact that this is pretty much mostly together already, and it even comes with a UK plug with a grounding, yeah, ready for heat insertion tips. This is not really that difficulty, but they also have a guide on the back what to set the temperatures for when you're doing different type of inserts, obviously 2 different types of materials, yeah. And then obviously just basically what you'll see on the soldering iron that's there. So let's go ahead and get this out of the box, get all the parts out here on the surface. So that's the main body of it. Clearly has a linear rail, looks like an MGN 12 with an H block. And that's probably a handle. Okay, so that's a piece of the base, and it's underneath. Aha! There it is. Getting it up. There we go. Nice base piece. I don't know if you can hear that, but it sounds like all the parts are in a little drawer. Yep, that's everything in the box. So let's go ahead and get this box out of the way. Get our little guide up here while we're at it. Take the wrapping off. Very, very keen. Now this is not a usual. This is injection molded. This is not a printed part. This was actually an injected molded part, which is very nice. Here's our little, oh, it's got a snap bit to it. Aha! Okay, so it's got some tools in here. These are our heat inserts, or heat insert tools. These are what you use on the tip of the soldering iron, depending on what size of a heat insert you're wanting to use. There's a couple of bolts. Hey, they even included a soldering iron to it, so if you actually want to use it for soldering. That's pretty cool, actually. Got a pair of tweezers with very sharp points. These are similar to, in fact, I believe these are the ones that you can also get in their 3D printing toolkit. They're ESD, with the type on it, 12 and 15. This has to do with, what the shape of the tip is, but ESD, these are electrostatic capable. So in other words, obviously it'll keep you from discharging on something, and may even help with that. Nice little tool. Couple of Allen wrenches. Right there. Ah, you can pull it out for, oh, what's this? Sticky bit. Alright. And okay, a couple of parts there. We shall see shortly what they do. And some initial inserts to get you started. Look like most of these are there's some M2.5s. These look like M2.5s, if I had to be honest. Okay, so it does come out. Haha, nice. Couple of bolts. Right. Right. Ah, that's why it feels like it's got spring. So it's got little locks, some nice little padded feet. Very nice. I have to admit that is a really nice design. Right, so let's go through the build. Pretty straightforward. So attach the handle to there with a button head screw, M5 12mm, and then insert telescoping mechanisms, clamp into the handle groove. Okay, so that must be this thing. They did make this one simple, that's for sure, because that's not a lot of steps. Right, so take this bad boy, plunk that into, let's just hold on to that so it doesn't get in my way. There we slides right in. Okay, and one of the other M512 goes in the bottom to hold the lovely extrusion into the frame. There we go. Let's just get that in there. Which way does that go? Yeah, it does actually have a specific way, so it'll go this way because there's some indentations here. They go to the right. Get that Allen key on the thing. Get that into the extrusion. Look, in there with that. And this is all injection molded. Now, I'm sure if any of you that are watching this have gotten some of the things from Mintion in the past, there were a lot of 3D printed parts, yeah? And although they were printed very well, I know you can't beat a nice injection molded part. So you just obviously can't really beat that. Oh, that's what this is for. These are to guide the wire, obviously, from the soldering iron. Right, okay. Now I'm understanding, and it goes on the back with the double-sided tape. Right, got it. Okay, now I understand. Right, so it says this obviously will go somehow. Yeah, something like that. Let me just have a look at this. I think there was a little bit of a problem there. Yeah, as I thought. Oh, booger. That should have had a couple of, remove the black plunger, which was not present. Okay, so that was obviously a mess up at the factory. Somebody forgot to put the plunger, which is a rail stop, and we've just had the proverbial deballing, as per se. So let's just go ahead and get this. And you know, that's one of those kind of mistakes that I usually would take off a video, but you know what? I think I'm going to leave that one, because that should never have happened. There we go. But the fact that that was able to lift that far, where it could do that, is quite disturbing. Now, thankfully, there's only 2 of the bearings in there, and I think, if I'm clever, and I think I also see the other mistake. I have the head of this on wrong. That open part should have been facing. So this wasn't Mintion's fault, this was my fault, but they still should have had the rubber rail stop pieces in there to prevent that simple mistake, because I'm going to be honest, my eyes are not overly great, and I misunderstood the orientation of this handle going in. So there we go. Fortunately, me and rail blocks get along quite well. Now, good opportunity to use a pair of these. It looks like there's one more ball that could do with going back into the rail. That's that one. Let's just see. Yeah, it was that side. Okay, so let's put that in there. That in there. Get this ball. Get it up. There we go. Looks like it all came off on one side, so that's not too bad. There we go. Put those back in. Ideally, it would have also been good to include the little plastic piece. It's like a little piece of plastic shaped like a linear rail. That would have prevented this from happening in the first place, as far as the difficulties of getting it back in. There we go. That's it. Right, there we go. No harm, no foul. Alright. So, lesson learned. Handle bit, this open bit needs to face the rail. That means that becomes your rail stop. Okay. Something new learned. There we go. That's better. And this is one of those things. This is why sometimes doing these like this, it's really good, because if I can make the mistake, that means somebody else can make that same mistake. And hopefully they will have watched this video before starting, and it will prevent them from having that happen. But I still say that the rubber stopper should have been in the top, because they even mention it in the page, yeah, in the guide. There we go. Much better. Yep. Probably could do with a little bit of lubrication, but for the purpose of it, it's not going to be that bad. But I would still say get a little bit of super lube or some thin lubricant to go in there. Okay, so how are they showing that? So they're saying like this. There we go. And that's the one. There we go. Right, next bit. They're saying for this, take this piece of double back tape, which appears to be cut in two parts. Considering it's cut in two parts, it makes me wonder why there are two parts. Why did they need two when they're showing only one, and it's not hooking anywhere else here? There we go. That's it. There we go. Right, and then that will go like here, which means that this now can go like so. Now they're showing it going off that direction, so that's the way I'm going to do it, as you do with pictorial guides. Yes, there we go. That's it. And that way, no tension on it. It's not an overly long cord, but it'll do the job. Now, the last piece here is this M5 bolt, yeah, and that goes right there. I'll drop that into there. Now, as I said, today is just assembly, because I'm going to show it actually going in physical use on some builds that I'm going to be doing. It only seems a fair use of it, because just taking a random part and obviously doing it, that's not doing anybody any good. Yeah. So there's this. Put these back away. Don't need to do any soldering, so I'll put that in there. This, I'm going to presume, has to be spares, so I'm going to leave that in the actual thing like that. And then our tips. And do I have an outlet down here? Just to test the heating element on this, so that you can see it heating up. Now, I'm not going to put these in because I'll be using slightly bigger ones than this, I think, because these look like M2.5. Yeah, most of these look like M2.5. There might be a few that are M3, but most of them look like they're smaller, so I'm going to leave those in there. But I'll be pulling these up because these, I believe, go in along here so that you can have them ready. In fact, what I might just do, just for safe's sakes, yeah, so obviously your items can go, yep, as I thought. So that's the smallest one. Next, and now you don't have to fill these all out. If you don't commonly do like M8s and M10s, you probably don't need to worry about this as far as that's concerned. But there's your typical order right there as to smallest to largest, yeah? Right, let me just get that in there. Ooh, actually, that popped up. There we go. Put those in there flatways. That's it. There we are. And then that can go down in there. That. I think this is if you have to take this bit apart, or if you had to assemble it, like maybe to replace the block, or to take out the soldering iron for use. So that's probably what that's all about, because the only one that we needed to put it together was this, yeah. And I'm guessing this is going to be for back here. Now I'm going to heat it up and test the actual heating element. I found that I do have a plug down here I can test it in. I just need to reach it. just about reaches it. Right. So we have a switch somewhere in line here, I believe. I thought we did. Nope. Oh, helps to turn that socket on, doesn't it? Where is that button? There we go. That's it. Right, so don't know if you can see that, but I'll zoom in on it. As you can see, it's currently off, but if I press the middle one, it starts heating up to whatever the desired temperature is. So I'm going to tell it 300°C, which would be somewhere on the order of way higher than necessary, because ABS, obviously they're saying 220 to 250, PLA 180 to 220, nylon 260 on the top end, and then TPU is 180. So I can actually, so that would actually be good if it was soldering. So we'll say that the top temperature being nylon, there it is saying I'm heading down now for that temperature, and it is working for, did I get it at 260? Helps if you get the right temperature. There we go. Flashes, confirms, and then heats. There we go. So yep, I can definitely feel heat coming off of that, so that is definitely working. Okay, so the general gist of this, with heat inserts and why it has this extra bit, this is the part where I can see this is a printed part. So I'm just going to open this again. It's got some really good little latches for being injection molded. Now the hole in here is so that you can go right on down in if you're just putting it in something thin. Yeah, but let me go ahead and turn this back off, and then I'm gonna just give a quick orientation of it. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I have a smart plug down here that my air filter from Mintion is also plugged into. Okay, so general concept, obviously with this, they even say here, use the red knob, can be used to adjust and lock the printed height. Now what they're talking about, when you're trying to do a heated insert, you want it to come just literally to the surface of the printed part. Now let's say, for example, I was using this one, which is looking like for M3. Yeah, so you would screw the tip of that in, nice and snug. Yeah, don't have to crank it down. Now let's say that I wanted it to come to a specific height, and let me, wow, they have really put that in there. Let me see here. What did they do? Do it for, oh, I see. Oh, there's little notches back here from the screws. But I'm going to just get that little Allen out, because I think somebody tightened it down with that. Yep, as I thought. Now, what it has back here on the back, it has a hammerhead nut, which basically is a type of T-nut that doesn't twist out. Yeah? So, let me go ahead and zoom back out. There we go. Now, we have obviously our little, let me just put this in here so I can't stop distracting myself. There we go. And this is not the most flat surface here, so apologies. Right, so when you're doing a heated insert, yeah, what you want is for the piece of the top of the insert to be flush with the surface of your printed part. Yeah. Now that will be right here where the knurls on your heat insert tool start to show. Yeah. So it's right there, literally. Yeah. In fact, I'm gonna just kind of show you where that is. That's right there. So as it goes in, that's the top of the insert where the top of the blade is. Yeah. Now, the purpose of this little knob back here is ultimately so that you can set that amount. There we go. Yeah, now that will let me slide it up and down. Okay, so if you want it to stop, let's say for example, this is not one that would use a heated insert, but I'll just use it as the point. Yeah. So obviously we bring this down before it's hot. Now you notice I've hit that thing and it's going to prevent it from going any lower. So what you want to do is bring that right down to the point where it would meet the surface. So you would do this before you put the insert in the hole. Yeah. Now lock that in place. There we go. And you would heat it up, and then as it goes down, you'll see that it stops right at that point. It does not go any lower. I can't potentially go lower than the point where the stop is. Yeah. So as long as you get this stop right, it will stop wherever you need it. Let's use that with a different example. So what do I have? No, I might as well get this out because I've got to do this later. This is kind of a sneak peek. This is a faceplate, obviously for a little touch screen that I have. It's actually a TFT50 for those that are curious. So while it's cold, I can line this up and I can set this here. Yeah. So now I would raise the locking bar right to there and then lock it in place. Yeah. That means when I'm actually doing it, you see it can't go below that point. So that way when I'm trying to put the heat insert, it's only going to put it in as far as the stop will let it, which is ideally what you want. And now you can do all four of these very quickly. Boom. Yeah. I have it set where it'll be just a little bit above because I'd rather set this properly when it's on a more stable surface. This is a little rocky, but there, see? Boom. And that's all there is to it. That is the gist of heat inserts. Now normally a lot of people, myself included, will get, brave. We'll think our skills are just like there because we've been doing it like this for ages. Obviously you'll do a heat insert just by hand. Soldering iron, don't even use a tip like this, and most of us, if we've been doing it a while and have messed up quite a number of printed parts and wasted a lot of heat inserts, we'll be able to do that. But getting it perfectly straight up and down, getting it flush with the surface exactly as it needs to be, sometimes even I get it wrong, and I have to redo it. And if it over melts the hole, then you're kind of stuck because now you have to reprint that part. And if it was a high cost material, you're not going to be happy. So I am very, 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 very thankful to Mintion for giving me the opportunity to be sent this tool. So the Nutopress Pro for heat inserts. And you will see this getting used in my next build video coming up. In fact, there's two. So if you're curious what they're going to be, stay tuned. Turn on the notifications if you want, or just check back periodically because I do plan to start getting those done in the next day or so. usually after work and stuff when I have my me time. Alright, well, thank you everybody for watching, and press on.